There's no escaping the fact that you will be relating to others while you're here having this human experience. In fact, our relationships are reflecting back to us everything we believe to be true about ourselves. Because of this, it's the people we engage with that have the most to teach us. So, what can we learn from our relationships and how can we heal them? It's important to understand how the role of relating to others forms our self concepts. Our entire life experience is based on self concept. We either block ourselves from experiencing certain things because of limiting beliefs, or we believe we are capable of achieving things if that belief was instilled in us. For example, the man who believes that he is capable of owning a business and making a lot of money will. And the man who believes he is only capable of living paycheck to paycheck and making ends meet will have that as his experience. As soon as we're born, relationships are formed and the process of social conditioning begins. We are taught by others that certain things are either good or bad, right or wrong. Our filters are formed, meaning how we are taught to see the world. And because all information passes through these filters, our ability to see things differently becomes limited. We quickly learn to size ourselves up to the people around us, and then learn directly or through inference that we possess certain qualities, either physical, mental, or emotional, that are admirable or unwanted. As these experiences occur, it conditions us to have certain beliefs about ourselves, and we form programs or patterns of thinking. We then define these programs as our identity, and our sense of separate self, our ego, is born. This identity that is formed has to do with either the body or the mind. For example, if we're told that we're physically beautiful, then that idea, if perpetuated, becomes a belief and takes hold as our identity. Or if we're consistently getting higher grades in school than our peers, and we are told that we're smart, then having intelligence becomes our identity. If we're told the opposite by the people in our lives, or we deduce by comparing ourselves to other people that we possess less of those admirable qualities, then we strengthen the belief that we have certain undesirable traits. Both scenarios will lead to suffering because, whether positive or negative, they are limited ideas of who we are. Negative aspects of ourselves will always create separation within us and a feeling of being broken and alone. This pain forces us to hide these unwanted aspects and store them away for no one to see. This is why trauma can lead to addiction, abuse, or escapism, so as to avoid having to ever come face to face with those aspects of ourselves that we rejected in order to survive. It helps me to think of these aspects as blockages in the body-mind, and they literally block us from feeling whole and allowing life to flow freely through us. The people that have been conditioned to feel special and superior to others, people who believe they have admirable qualities, will also experience suffering. For example, if a woman has been told she's beautiful and she believes that to be her biggest asset, she's going to suffer a great loss when she starts to age and lose her sense of beauty. In time, her identity as someone who is beautiful will be threatened. Our experiences continually confirm what we believe to be true about ourselves, because experience is a byproduct of our beliefs. And although we are who we believe we are today because of our experiences, in reality, we are not our experiences. They are just experiences. They shape our perception of who we think we are, but they are not who we are. How can we get past our limiting beliefs and self-concepts? The first thing we have to do is want to heal them. In order to heal the fragmentation that was created by our conditioning, we need to be willing to look at all the aspects of ourselves that we've blocked and pushed away. This is not an easy thing to do. Remember, we push these traumatic experiences down deep so we wouldn't have to look at them. ever. But if you want to heal, it's not always going to be easy. It's been my experience that with every hardship, there contains a level of wisdom and growth, understanding of the same magnitude as the negative aspects of that hardship. Think of these gifts as leveling up in the game of life. Until we are willing to look at all the parts of us that we've rejected, aspects of ourselves will remain hidden and authenticity is impossible. We need to investigate to understand why we dissociated from these aspects of ourselves. Think of this process as a deep house cleaning, a spiritual process of purification. When we can look at the areas of darkness within us, we can begin to realize that they are just self-created limitations that we've imposed on ourselves because we believed what other people were teaching us. We were simply reacting to trauma to try to survive. Fragmentation is a self-protecting mechanism. It allows us to function in the world without having to face and process the pain. This is especially true because we are never taught how to process pain. Our natural instinct is to get rid of it as fast as possible, so we dissociate from it. This shows up differently for everyone. Some people carry a ton of anger inside of them, others self-pity, and some people are just numb. However this pain manifests, processing it is about letting yourself feel the pain in your body without judgment and without a story. Just let it move through you how it wants to, without the commentary. That's acceptance. That's self-love. Just get into that state of being. Let the feelings come up and become the witness. That is how you teach yourself that you are not your experiences. Let's use my own personal experience as an example. I had a traumatic career as a professional dancer as a young adult. There were numerous occasions, too many to count really, where I felt humiliated, abused, and worthless. So if I were to start looking at one of these aspects of myself that I bought into and then rejected, I would start by remembering a specific incident that would then trigger an emotion, and I would allow myself to feel what was happening in my body when I thought about that particular event. I can remember one specific incident when my choreographer told me, "God, Margot, you are so unanimated." I was 16, standing there in front of a room full of other company members, and I thought, he's right. My dancing is boring. It's lifeless, unanimated. And so I would try to dance the piece again and again, and he would just keep saying it over and over. So once you have the particular experience in mind, just sit with your feelings as they come up and notice what is happening in your body. You might start crying and feelings of anger, hurt, and self-pity might come up. But the key with this work is to just feel it and observe. The initial trigger was a thought of a memory, but don't let the story stay there. Remember, this is not about torturing yourself and reliving all the horrible trauma from your past. The point of this process is to heal your past by getting to the point where you realize that you can stop judging yourself for what happened. You can stop being the victim and start taking responsibility for your own healing. You can accept yourself. You can bring those unwanted aspects in close so you can heal them and become whole again. The practice of non-judgment is what leads to acceptance and wholeness. True acceptance is non-judgment, whereas judgment is rejection. Judgment is separation. When we have an aversion to an aspect of ourselves, it means we are simply clinging to the pain. Whatever we block or reject, we tether to us. So the process of integration involves letting go of this aversion, accepting what is. Remember, it's neither good nor bad. It just is. There is always a gift at the end of this process, and it is a feeling of completion, of wholeness. The gift of duality is expansion. If you never experience separation and loneliness, then how could you fully understand what love is? We cannot transcend something until we understand it. Remember, change is always a shift in perception. So if we're going to see things differently, we have to have all the puzzle pieces in front of us to make sense of them. That's why looking at all of our shadows is so important. Once that feeling of wholeness and acceptance takes place, the last very critical step is to know that you are just the consciousness that has experienced those things. This is the very thing that will liberate you. Nothing that happens to you changes who you are. It can change the perception of who you think you are, which is what the conditioning did in the first place. But it is not the unchangeable consciousness that is you. When we identify with our experiences, it will push us further into darkness or unconsciousness. When we get space from our experiences and stop identifying with them, we can begin to shift our perception and begin identifying with our true nature, which is the consciousness that was aware of having had those experiences. Once you have this understanding, you can have true compassion. You will realize that everyone's life is just a series of experiences, and that any pain they are feeling or pain they have caused is because they have identified with their conditioning. This understanding will allow you to have compassion. Compassion is not feeling sorry for someone. It is holding them in truth, seeing them as no less than the divinity that is their true nature. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can receive new videos each week. I love you all. Remember, let go.